You're listening to Potty Mouth Radio, the home of movies, music, television, and comedy. The following podcast contains spoilers and rude words. We watching thee. We watching thee. Hello, all you beautiful people out there in podcast land. It's Billy and Dave here with you again to chat movies. Am I too loud? Am I too loud, mate? Oh, I don't know what... Oh my God! Little bit of theatre for you there. I hope that wasn't too bad.
I'm so good with the audio medium.
Because, of course, as Dave has so wonderfully alluded to, we are, of course, talking about Quiet Place Day 1 this week, which is a 2024 American apocalyptic horror film written and directed by Michael Sarnowski, based on a story he conceived with John Krasinski. It's the third installment in the Quiet Place film series, and it's both a spin-off and prequel, I guess. Stars Lupita Nyong'o, Joseph Quinn, Alex Wolff, and Jimon Honsu. And what is it about, mate?
It is about what happened when the nasty deaf monsters from outer space first arrived, and all told through the eyes of a couple of everyday folk, and how they get across New York City and escape or not escape. No spoilers.
You and I were both, of course, hotly anticipating this one. We both really enjoyed the first one.
And the second one?
Yep. How did you feel about this film?
I think it is a very worthy third installment.
Wow, this is going to be fun because it hasn't happened in a long time. Look, this might not make my worst of the year list, but fuck off, it's making my most disappointing of the year list.
Oh my God, you and Priscilla are what the fuck is wrong with
I felt
you?
so justified. In fact, honestly, Paul was nice on this film
Wow.
Yeah, I did not think this was worthy at fucking all. I thought it was such a squandered premise. It's such a waste. Firstly, fuck off. This has nothing to do with the early days. Don't call this Day 1. This isn't a prequel. It has nothing to do with the start of it. Like, this is just a completely separate story.
It takes place on Day 1.
It doesn't need to. It literally doesn't need to. Give me this character, a couple of years in or something. It has nothing to do with the fact that this is Day 1. We learn nothing more about the monsters.
This story couldn't take place on anything other than Day 1.
Why?
There is no way that she would be wanting to go back and spend her last day, in the place that has all this special importance for her. There is no way that his character would be so shell-shocked and confused and not coping. That only happens on the first day when this shit's just happened.
This movie is such a squandered premise. I disliked this so much. I thought it was such a waste. Here's the thing. All right, I'll get into my negatives and then I'll let you counterpoint
talk reasonably about it.
My first largest problem with this film, apart from the fact that I don't think this needs to be a prequel. I understand what you're saying about her, and from a character perspective, yeah, sure. But I didn't give a shit about any of the characters. I genuinely didn't. And I feel like this film was written the wrong way round. What made A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place Part 2 great isn't the idea of the monsters that you need to be quiet around. It's the fact that you've got those, and then there is this family who is dealing with tragedy and have decided to do the stupidest thing a person in a world like this can do, and bring a newborn child, one of the loudest creatures on earth, into it. That's what made those films interesting. It was the family dynamic. It was all of that. Lupita Nyong'o.
I'm fairly confident that pregnancy wasn't planned, and I don't think they.
No, it was. It was. That's what made it so interesting.
I need to rewatch it. I didn't.
Lupita Nyong'o's good in the role, but I didn't give a shit about her at all. And this film to me felt like it was written like it even, we get the title card at the start. New York is one of the loudest cities on earth. It's, the volume of a constant scream. This is a film where they went, let's see A Quiet Place in New York. And I think that they completely fucked that, because New York, yeah, sure, it might be loud. As soon as the monsters hit, it's not. That has nothing to do with it. What's scary about New York in a situation like this is that it's busy. Not that it's loud, that it's busy. And there is only one scene in this movie that actually plays with that. There's the scene where all of the people, and you get the kind of stampede. That happens for about 2 minutes. And from that...
That's about how long that would last before people were either dead or hiding.
No way. The first 5 days, that's what I mean. If you're giving me day one, the first 5 days would be fucking chaos. You get like a 20-second scene where the aliens land here, and then you get large stretches where there's almost no one around, where people are hiding. You get scenes of 1 or 2 characters, and then you get that one stampede in the middle. It's fucking waste.
I don't think they're hiding. I think the implication is almost everyone gets killed very, very quickly.
Then show us that. Show us the piles of corpses around, not just an empty street.
There is a decided lack of bodies. I like to think maybe they were just all fucking eaten.
Yeah, but because I just found that this film...
There are tens of millions of people who live in that city, and there was a decided lack of bodies. I grant you that.
Yeah.
I grant you that for a city that size,
the chaos would last more than 10 seconds.
Well, poetic license. There is a lot of convenience to... You don't see these things anywhere.
Yeah.
Until you do.
Yeah.
You make a sound, suddenly there's one of these fuckers in your face every single time, and that's a dramatic convenience, and it did irritate me. Sure.
Yeah.
I think I didn't view this as a prequel to the others, more as just another film in this world.
Yeah, look, here's my thing.
Which is why I think I don't have an issue with it being called Day One. The story, I think, is appropriate for being Day One, and the story only works when it's Day One. And other than the fact it is the same monsters, it is the same dramatic situation.
Yeah.
I just kind of viewed it as its own thing, and I thought the acting was fantastic. I thought the tension was paced appropriately.
I didn't feel tense.
I really enjoyed it.
I didn't feel tension at one point in this film. I found it completely lackluster.
It's not as good as the first one. The second one wasn't as good as the first one, and this is probably not as good as the second one. I think I'm not going to say diminishing returns, because I still think this is a very good film.
Wow.
But the first one is phenomenal. The second one is very, very good. This, I think, is good.
Okay, I love when we disagree.
I'm still recommending this wholeheartedly. I think it's one of the better things I've seen this year.
You're certainly not turning me on it, but I want you to try. I want you to tell me what it is you love about it, because, like I said, for me, I found zero tension in this film whatsoever.
The human story in this is better than the second one. It's on par with the first film. I loved both of their characters.
Wow. Okay. See, I didn't at all.
I'm blanking on his name now, but Eddie Munson from Stranger Things, and Lupita, who is always phenomenal. I think both of their performances are fantastic. I loved the growth of their relationship from her being basically just on a walk across the town to die. That was where she started at the beginning of the film. She has no intentions of living. She just wants to die in the place that has meaning for her, rather than the hospice.
Yeah.
Then he is utterly useless. He has gone into complete shock at what's happened. He's the other side of the world from all friends and family, and then this shit's happened, and he is completely hopeless. And to her, he's an irritation. She wants to get rid of him so she can just do her walk of death. He doesn't have anywhere to go. He's just latched onto the only person who's not bolting. And then by the end of the film, they're not romantically in love, but they love one another. That they've bonded so completely. They've each risked their life for the other one. The world's most convenient cat that seems to be able to find people from anywhere in the city.
Look, the cat is cute, but it's ridiculous.
Whatever. It serves a dramatic purpose, and it's cute. But the emotional trajectory of their relationship, I found it really engrossing, and I really liked it.
Yeah, so I didn't feel that at all, and I wanted to, because it's a storyline that should work, but I feel like it knows that, and it wants to use the story rather than tell the story. It wants you to think about this dying woman rather than actually making you care about her, is what I found. So,
do you know what's weird, Nat? This is going to annoy you so much. We've flipped from Godzilla Part 1, which I thought was a fine film, but I didn't think that the human part of it delivered nearly as much as I was hoping for after how much it had been built up. Whereas this, I thought, really delivered, and you're the complete opposite, because you thought that Godzilla Minus, as a lot of people did, delivered in spades on that front.
Yeah.
Whereas this dropped the ball.
See, I didn't think this. The problem for me is I didn't think this landed any which way. It's thankfully short, but I found that there are two good scenes in the entire movie. There's one good horror movie scene, which is the stampede. The rest of the stuff with the monsters is crap. I got to be honest, it's so bad for me anyway. And the only part of the human story that worked is that final sequence at the pizzeria. That is it. I didn't buy their. You know, you spoke about how their kind of relationship growing. I just didn't feel that. I didn't feel it at all. I just felt like it was just so lazy, and the film wanted you to think it was growing without actually showing you any growth. So I was just so disappointed in this movie, especially like I agree the second one is not as good as the first, but for me this is less than half as good as the second one.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Oh. So I mean, I haven't seen the second one since it came out. I did intend to watch both of them before this, but much as you, when we finally get to Maxine, will not have seen X or Pearl, I didn't get to it. But I do remember thinking the second one was a little bit unbalanced, and that Emily Blunt and the other kids may as well not have been there. It was all about Millie, the deaf daughter, which is fine. She's amazing in that film.
Yeah.
It's all her and Cillian Murphy. And it felt, from memory, it's a bit unbalanced. Whereas this, I mean, I loved the fact it was just this, similar to the first one, but even more so, it was just this one tiny intimate story of these two people.
Yeah.
And the other shit, like Godzilla should be, is in the background.
See, here's the thing for me.
Where I think, the reason that the aliens don't have I mean, in the first film, for most of the film, you don't know what the fuck they look like. It's the tension is obviously a lot higher because we've got no idea really what these things are or even what they look like until the very end.
But you know what? It's not even just that.
You know what they look like, and so it's kind of like Aliens, where we need to have a lot more running and action because there's no more suspense because we know what the fucking thing looks like.
It's not even just that though. My biggest issue, okay, sure, in the first one we don't know how the creatures work. The interesting thing though is that the characters do, to a certain extent. They still are not perfect, but they know more. That's where this film completely fucked up because
from memory, don't we spend a large proportion of the first film not really understanding why they're acting the way they are.
But they know what they're doing.
Silence.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is completely fucked up here.
But you can't repeat that.
No, and nor should you, because it's meant to be day one. This is meant to be day one. I want to see people who have no fucking clue what they're doing. And this movie is terrible because we know what we're doing, and they know way more than they should.
Yeah.
If creatures came to Earth that were targeting people making sound, it would take you far longer than day one to realize that. You'd spend the first 5 days thinking that they're just attacking anything and everything.
Yes.
You would not know that it has anything to do with sound.
It happens very, very conveniently quickly.
Yes.
And I am in no way comparing these two films, but I just rewatched The Happening. and
compare away.
No, because that is one of the worst films of all time.
No.
It's worse than I remember.
Yeah, it's not good.
I've decided I don't like Zooey Deschanel.
I never have. She's awful.
New Girl is lightning in a bottle where she's playing herself. Everything else is fucking terrible. Anyway,
she stole a property brother.
The reason that
she dumped Ben Gibbard, one of the greatest musicians of all time, for a fucking property brother. Useless Zooey Deschanel.
She was probably threatened by him. He refused to be the other half of her and him. But the reason I bring it up is there's one part in that where some news show is on,
Yeah.
And it is literally moments after the first incident in Central Park where people start offing themselves.
Yeah.
They see that, run home, turn on the news, and the news comes on and says, the autopsies show.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like, how quickly did you slice these? There's like thousands of people died. How quickly did you slice them open? It's like this. All the time frames are condensed so that you get to, and I think I said to you when we were talking about this a few weeks ago, what I really wanted this to be is the first half is normal noise levels, city as normal, aliens wreaking havoc, and then it turns into a silent film, which we didn't get. And I do think that was a missed opportunity. I agree.
Yeah. All right. Honestly, I have nothing else nice to say about this movie. I've got to be honest.
It's a fairly strong recommend from us here. Look, yeah, I tell you what, I didn't recognize Alex Wolff with his dirty great beard and long hair.
Yeah, no, neither did I. Yeah, I did not recognize
looking guy
Alex
with
Wolff.
long hair and a big fucking beard. And
I did not recognize that was Alex Wolff.
I didn't even have a moment of, I wonder who that is. I was just like, oh yeah, no.
But I didn't recognize anyone in this film. I didn't recognize that was Eddie from Stranger Things. Even Lupita Nyong'o. I like Lupita Nyong'o. I don't know. Maybe it's been too long since I've seen her in anything. I had no idea who that was.
To be fair, she's a bit method, and she probably dropped about 5,000 kilos to look like she was dying of cancer.
Yeah.
Jaimon Hunsu I recognise, but he was only in it for about 4 seconds. Why the fuck pay his salary?
I don't know why he was there. Yeah.
Yeah. Very odd.
Yeah.
But I did genuinely like this film.
Here's the thing for me.
A strong franchise.
I think I wouldn't have hated this if this was a storyline in a limited series. If you took the realm of Quiet Place and essentially made The Stand, if you gave me 5 or 6 disparate characters all over the country and you show me...
This is your Last of Us episode where we're just with the 2 dudes and not with the main characters.
I'm not even thinking anthology series. I'm literally talking... multiple Lost, for example. Just show me all these storylines, cut between them. If this was a small segment of that would have been fine. This is a 90-minute movie. Didn't work for me at all. I don't think that the pacing was right. I don't think that like I said, I did not care about these characters at all. I honestly didn't. Lupita Nyong'o, you should care about. But I think that the film just banks on that fact. The film just goes, she's a dying woman with cancer. People are going to care about her. And they don't actually make you care about her. And that, to me, it's such a crime. This was such a squandered premise. Look, the most disappointing thing for me is that I'd still be up for seeing more in this universe. If you told me tomorrow they were making a 10-episode series of A Quiet Place, I'd be, all there for it. At this rate, though, if you bring me out another movie and it's another one of these stories, I don't think I'm going to rush to the cinemas to see it.
Oh, I mean, it's doing okay. I think you will get another one. It's already done.
Yeah.
It's close to 100 million worldwide.
Tell you one thing, movies are back, baby. Between this and Inside Out 2, which is the first film of this year to hit $1 billion. Yeah.
And that alone is depressing.
Nah, look, I'm just like, movies are back. Oh, mate, it's so much better than this.
It's really not.
I love when we disagree.
Really not. Oh wow. Tell you what's not doing that well though. When I was looking at the numbers for this, which is obviously in just behind Inside Out 2, although that's been out for a couple of extra weeks. Poor old Costner's Horizon Chapter 1, which I'm really looking forward to catching those because I'm such a massive fan of Dances with Wolves. Better than Braveheart, better than Gladiator, as far as your epics go. Fucking there.
Jesus, talk about hot takes.
That movie is fucking magnificent. I've been waiting for this ever since I first heard whisper of it years ago, and it's not doing even in America. It's done. Weekend one, it's like 10, 11 million or something. It's not. Yeah. And given how jingoistic and Americana they are over there, how is it not doing? Yeah, fuck. That's depressing.
Well, so how are you scoring A Quiet Place Day 1 then? I thought for sure we'd be much closer.
I'm a 7 out of 10.
Wow. Like, I knew that you'd like it more than me, but I genuinely thought that we'd be way closer in score, because I'm a 4. This does not pass. This doesn't pass for me. Not at all.
This is not even a pass.
This isn't a pass. It's a finely shot film. There's nothing overly interesting about it. The acting is good, but if you don't make me care about the characters, then
not even average for you. It's below average.
This is below average, and that doesn't happen to me often. That's what I mean.
What did you give Fast 10 again?
10. Look, again, I'm not saying this is going to make my worst of the year, but at this point, if you told me to give you my most disappointing films of the year, this would probably be number 1 with a bullet. And, you can't help
Godzilla
expectations.
versus Kong or X-Kong or whatever.
Actually, no, you're right. That would be
thank
this.
you.
Yes.
Fucking hell.
But this would be close, because, like that, even though I love Godzilla and I love Kong, a part of you expects that movie to be shit.
Why?
Whereas,
you thought the one before was good. Part of me expected it to be shit. You had no excuse.
Whereas I didn't expect that this was going to be. I thought that this was going to be at worst good, and I just don't even think it was. So it's a shame. It's a right shame.
Oh, Sting.
Sorry, everybody out there.
Heart and soul.
Well, speaking of Sting, next week I believe that's what we're getting to. We're seeing some spidery shit with Sting. Is that right?
Yep. With Sting. I didn't realize he was in it, but sure.
We may or may not have Sam Hurley from Movie Reviews in 20 Qs on with us to talk about it, but either way, we'll be joining him next week to do an episode on Captain America Winter Soldier, which I have never seen.
Jesus Christ.
Here's a question. Do I need to watch the first Avenger first, or can I go straight into Winter Soldier?
You need to see that, plus every other MCU film that precedes this, if you haven't.
Hang on.
And any TV shows. Possibly read some comics.
There were no TV shows prior to Winter Soldier, so I'm okay there.
You definitely should see Captain America.
Okay, hang on. Let me have a look and see what I would need to catch up on. All right, okay. I have seen Iron Man, and I have seen The Incredible Hulk. I haven't seen Iron Man 2, though.
Oh, God, it's all over.
And I have seen Thor. Haven't seen First Avenger. Have seen Iron Man 3, have seen okay, so I'm only missing the First Avenger and Iron Man 2.
You need to Iron Man 2, see it if you want, but it's not important. You need to have seen Captain America First Avenger, you need to have seen the first Avengers film, which I'm assuming you have.
Yes, of course.
I don't even think Iron Man 3 or Thor Dark World. Man, no, probably not. I would say you can get away with Captain America First Avenger.
Okay. All right. Well, so you can find us over on Movie Reviews in 20 Qs in the next couple of weeks doing that. You can also hear us on Time to Die, a D&D podcast, where we're deep into our campaign now.
So deep.
Which is very, very fun, actually. And you can find us on The Hunt for the Perfect Album, where we give albums to each other. Not tonight, though, because I've been too busy and haven't listened to it. But
yeah. Slack. I've listened to your album twice now.
Really?
And I'm gonna have to listen to it another time to refresh my memory.
Well, so, good thing for you. It's a fantastic album.
Being punished.
No. Oh, mate, you're not being punished when you're listening to that album. We both know it. All right. In the meantime, if you want to get in touch with us, you can do that at pottymouthradio.com or pottymouthradio@gmail.com. Go check out and join the Facebook listener community, where you can talk shit with us and talk shit at us. And we'll catch you next week.
See ya.